You're missing out big time if you think Korean literature would be an extension of K-dramas and K-pop. Because the world of Korean books is a whole new world that is beyond the glitz and glamour of the Korean way. In this video, I'm going to talk about some Korean books which are recommended even by some top celebrities. These books are really popular and the whole world is talking about them. I've included time codes down below, so feel free to jump around. Now, if you think Korean literature is all about dramatic plots and love triangles, you might be wrong because it's unlike any contemporary fiction that we read. We've got something more profound and deeper in Korean literature. Have you ever wondered what it's like to receive death threats for reading a book? This is exactly kind of what happened with this book that I'm going to talk about. This is Kim Ji-young, born 1982 by Namjoon. This book was first published in 2016 and it created quite a stir in South Korea. This book spearheaded the Me Too movement in South Korea and it also led to an anti-feminist backlash in that country. So what sets this book apart is that it's very simple, but more than that, the subject that it discusses is not about very violent or harrowing experiences of a woman's life. It's about this seemingly simple and overlooked aspects or moments that a woman has to go through in her life. So it's such a harmless book. The titular character here is Kim Ji-young and this is the most common name for girls in South Korea. So the author in a way tries to make her every woman and tries to tell that this is a story of every woman and hence the story becomes very universal. I'll read out a part from the book. The most demoralizing answer came from the department head himself. Companies find smart women taxing. Like now, you're being very taxing, you know. What do you want from us? The dumb girls are too dumb. The smart girls are too smart. And the average girls are too unexceptional. This book takes us on a journey through the pervasive presence of systemic misogyny and casual sexism. So this is what the book is all about. Next up, we have a masterpiece that will make you question everything that you thought you knew about literature. This is unlike anything I have ever read before. This book is The Vegetarian by Han Kang. This book is a winner of the International Booker Prize and it's a brilliant tale of madness, liberation and the female body. And definitely don't judge this book by its cover. It's not your typical animal rights story. It's about the most intricate, deep and darkest human emotions that are the consequences of one's past experiences. I cannot really explain this book in one sentence because it's very hard to explain and I don't know, it's about the primordial human condition and there is so much going on in this book and it's about the complexities of human lives and this is as complex as it can get. I would also give this book some content warnings. This might not be for everyone, but I have to say this is an incredible work of literature. Madness becomes a choice, a rebellion and an expression of oneself in this book. This book explores the delicate line between sanity and insanity all through multiple narrators and different perspectives. I'll read out a quote from this book. Whether human, animal or plant, she could not be called a person, but then she wasn't exactly some feral creature either, more like a mysterious being with qualities of both. So that line itself sounds very weird and as I said, it's very complex and it's a beautifully written book and I really want everybody to read this book. It's such a beautiful book. Now, if you're into very weird, grotesque, sort of Murakami-esque world, the next book I'm going to talk about might be the right choice for you. Whale by Chung Myung-kwan. This book was shortlisted this year for the International Booker Prize. And this is one of those books that make you feel a little unsettled, weird, maybe a little bit nauseous too. Because it's a magical, realistic, surreal world. This one is a magical, brutal and bodily exploration of a woman's existence in a hostile world. Also, this book might not be for everyone because there are many things that could trigger you. Also, the narrative might sound misogynistic to some people because it's written like that. It's written in the tone of misogyny. So that criticism is there. But I personally felt like the author cleverly uses the tone of misogyny to prove a larger point. Unlike Murakami, the author of Whale, Chung Myung-kwan, places women at the center of his universe. And I think it is brilliant and brave of him to use a patriarchal tone to tell a female-centric narrative. If you're into incredible world building, unusual protagonists and a touch of historical fiction, you must read this book. This is one of those books that make you think about it a lot even after you finish reading it. And every time you reread it, you will find new layers and perspectives. But it's also understandable why some people might not like it. This is what the International Booker Prize Committee said about this book. It's a story of a woman making her way in a hostile world and that is always relevant. This is a story full of magic and humor, but there is also profound darkness and struggle, terrible violence and prejudice. The next book is I Want to Die But I Want Want to Eat Tteokbokki by Beksehi. This book tackles mental health like no other book. This book is described as part memoir, part self-help. It's a conversation between the author and her psychiatrist as she navigates dysthymia or mild depression. Whether you're struggling with mental health issues yourself or you just want to understand the people who are going through it, this book is an empathetic exploration of mental health that you must read. And trust me, the title alone will make you curious, and it's definitely one of my favorite titles of any book. Last but certainly not the least, this book is a journey spanning generations. It's a generational saga. This is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This book tells a story of 4 generations of a Korean-Japanese family navigating their lives through colonization, World War II, and identity crisis. So there are so many historical aspects there, and this is a historical fiction. There is the Korean War, the Japanese occupation of Korea, displacement, many other factors are there in this book. It's about a community that history is eager to erase, the Korean Japanese people who got displaced from their motherland to Japan because of many life circumstances following the Korean War and the Japanese occupation of Korea, and many other things. That's also very subtly explained in Veiled by Cho Myung-kwan. This book is quite a thick one, and it's about some 531 pages, but it's very engaging and it's written in a very simple language. And the author also incorporates lots of cultural things in the book, like the language the Korean Japanese people speak. They speak in Korean, they speak in Japanese, also they speak in English. So all of those cultural aspects is touched upon in this book. And the way the book opens is so good. It opens with this line: history has failed us, but no matter. That in itself is the essence of this book. It's about this community that everybody ignores. I wasn't aware of this community till I read this book. This is a must read to understand certain cultural aspects in the world and to understand different communities and different people in the world. Some of you might have watched the Apple TV original series, which is the adaptation of this book starring Lee Min-ho. That series was incredible. I've made a book versus series analysis video of Pachinko. If you're interested, you can check that out. The link will be somewhere here on the screen. Pachinko explores the themes of faith, love, family, resilience, and identity. Pachinko is actually something very similar to a pinball game, and the game in itself becomes a metaphor for the lives of the people or the characters in the book. The game itself requires a lot of skill and tremendous luck in order to succeed, just like how life is very hard for the Korean Japanese people. So Pachinko becomes a grand metaphor in this book. There are also many other metaphors the author uses. There are many imageries and symbolisms which are very significant. So the Korean Japanese people are basically the people who are displaced from Korea, from their motherland to Japan because of the circumstances, as I said. So the struggles of the family in this book apply to the broader identity of this Korean Japanese community who were denied any other jobs. They had to make their living by doing small businesses like Pachinko. In a pivotal scene in this book, one of the characters says, "In Seoul, people like me get called Japanese bastards, and in Japan, I'm just another dirty Korean, no matter how much money I make or how nice I am." So that was 5 incredible works in Korean literature that take you beyond the glitz and glamour of the Korean pop culture. Korean literature has a treasure trove waiting for you if you are a fan of deep emotions, profound human experiences, and relatable stories. So if you like this video, here is another one you might like. My name is Arya and I make videos on books and self-improvement. If they sound interesting to you, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that like button. I love hearing from you, so drop your comments down below if you have any thoughts about these books, if you have already read these books, or if you want to read these books. You can also read my articles on Medium, and you can follow me on other social platforms if you want. I'll link them all down in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one, and bye.